have a heal available to him, but the rest of SMB is dead clear.
There's a nice right click from Yassine, but this does not stop the defuse the slightest bit. He's walled off, he made his own little castle, and it might be cold on ICEBOX, but it seems like Turco and his boys are even ice cold. That was just bad a book. Proper retake from SMB. The kind of aggression we saw coming in there over from mid, that was kind of crazy, but it works, and that's the only thing that matters.
It worries me just how much of an easy read SuperMassive Blaze had on Draken, just on that lurk. And I don't think Viper's particularly an agent that you want to be caught out early with. That utility is so good, certainly in the post-plants. If he goes down early, he gets taken out the round. Certainly that toxic screen isn't going to be much use. Similar sort of play coming out. The L-Drone is going to be an early one to clear some of these angles. Nobody from SuperMassive Blaze is over in that direction. Draken going to try similar things. Turco just watching in this position now, wants to take that duel head on, has a bit of support at the very least, so if Draken gets taken down, he can't get traded. And SuperMassive Blaze tried to attempt for the trade, but Draken gets out relatively unscathed.
I feel like it's a bit of a deja vu that I'm here witnessing. Is this the same round as a replay, or is this all happening? But Paul are being eliminated. This is the change in it. It's becoming a bit of a problem here for SMB to retake this properly, as Izzy's coming there back from Snowman. They are just entering the site and the spike properly. Yassine is playing where we saw Safe previously, is whiffing the shot unfortunately as well, and Russ is getting closer and closer. The retake wall is up, and Russ is trying to hold them up. Starts good with Bonkar, is looking keen to get the second, and it should not be a situation where Guild will thrive, as Draken tries his best. He's out, and the ace from Russ. It might have been just a bit of a bonus, but it looks beautiful at the end of the day, and the crucial part is getting his ult. That could be a change if he's having such a streak once more when Guild come up with bigger weapons.
The Empress, yeah, having it on round 3 is going to be super useful. You've seen playing on that similar aggressive angle that we saw from Russ and losing out to Russ in a similar position. Guild don't expect this kind of aggression and this ego peaking. When you have Izzy to support, you're allowed to do that. And Ace is a nice way to start this off. The force-up from Guild before means that they haven't got money for this round as well, so we might see the whole similar play up third time around.
I mean, Lothar was asking earlier, why would you play double duelist? I think the clip could be like a real good explanation, but I mean, he got a valid point. SMB taking a bit of room in front of A. Guild, a team that is, by the way, way more interested in the A side overall as attacker, have shown a big tendency towards B over here. And it's the third time we're seeing this, third time it's the Sean right.
The retakes haven't been that successful. Russ, again, it's the same pathing that we've seen each time, and there's a bit of openness, actually, to get onto Bonkers. He was planting the spike. Yassine protects. It's nice work from him. And there's only, like, one shock dart available, 2 snake bites. They're trying to play so post-plant utility that it's allowing a lot of space for SMB to get back on into the site.
Oh, this is easily done here once more for SMB. Brave and the boys are making it work. Izzy and Turk are low HP, so if there's something crazy coming out of them, that could work. But Leo on his own does not stand a chance. The third time they get in the site, the third time they put the bomb down, and the third time that SMB successfully retake the site.
Just Groundhog Day, I suppose, when it comes to these B hits. SuperMassive Blaze have very early on shown that they are happy to play for these retakes.
Oh yeah.
Izzy has not died yet, neither has Brave, and Brave has been a little more quieter. Utility, the toxic screen, the timing of that dropping just completely catches Yassine over on yellow box. You know, with his trousers down, effectively. He's wide peeking, he peeks into 2 players. And there's at least a bit of glimmer of hope for Guild when it comes to, all right, they're getting a couple of kills, especially on eco rounds. But we need to see them close them. 1 round out of all of their attacking rounds that we've seen so far on Guild's attack is not a convincing sign.
And I mean, as you've seen at Masters, when we had those players offline, you see the emotions in SMB carries. How good the momentum can be when they're positive, and those so far looks really good from them. It seems like they're getting the frags, which is obviously contributing to this good mood. And if they carried it on, it might be sinister times for Guild. This time around, they again get on the B side, again put the wall up, again get the spike down, and they expect Draken to be back there. So that wall's down, this might just cause problems, but as Yassine is lurking around the side, the spike's coming down either way. You know, if Izzy, with his little tippy-toe silent around up there in kitchen, knows where Safe is around, Safe can't escape Turco nevertheless. and that should be done and dusted, except Leo has a magic response to it. Starts off good. Brave has been beheaded, but 2 more are to come. He's dashing away, fakes it out. Leo to his right-hand side, gotta be careful! Oh, but no, he's getting caught when he's just having bow and arrow out. And that doesn't work at all. It's a proper defense from SWD. The first time where it looks a little bit tight, but it's still successful at the end of the day.
I mean, for me, if it's the difference between Guild from before and Guild now, the change away from Bonkers Breach to Sage is just that they keep going B now. I would have taken the Breach hands down. Like, one of the exciting things about Guild, who had a really close series again against Gambit of all teams, went to like 19-17 overtime, was those A hits from Guild, because they have such good utility. The Breach, the Aftershocks, the fault lines, the flashes to get onto a site. The fact that we haven't seen Guild attempt this once and they still lean towards this B site feels like they've got one set strat, and that is all that we're feeling right now.
Lofar liked this, and he's absolutely right. I mean, so far it was like 70% of the time they were attacking the A site. Now, you don't need to really have a master's degree in mathematics to be aware that this is 100% over there on the B side. A good combination, but that does possibly deny Bunker. Yes, it is! He's falling out early, and Para, the first time debut with that, it's working brilliantly. It's disastrous to a certain degree, Ryan. Really, I don't see Guild taking such a round again, except Draken has a wonderful time.
I don't want to put too much stock onto this round for Guild just because of the money. The Bladestorm was dedicated.
Uh-oh.
Now we still...
No!
Even when Draken isn't spotted out early rounds, he still can't confirm a kill or get Supermassive Blaze to panic. But what about Safe? The defuse has been fully stuck by Brave, and that's because it's been washed by multiple Supermassive Blaze players. 5-0 now. Full buy coming up, and I need to see something different than the last 5 rounds because they've been all the same.
I mean, I'm already seeing the guy from Valorant tweets before disaster happened, coming in with that shot from Drake, and it's unfortunate for him, really. He had the time in the world.
5 retakes, 5 defuse. It's a retake serve. I didn't realize that Riot added these in.
Hey, if you didn't know, this is actually true, right? This is our halftime show.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, right? Because considering Breeze, SMB has been really good on the retakes, which is no surprise considering the side we saw here from Gil over on Breeze on attack. But it's looking good for them. It's working really well, and this is the first time we're seeing them attack A, Ryan.
Draken has been in that position where he's just sort of holding these positions, was maybe hoping a Supermassive Blaze would be conditioned to think it's another B hit, seeing as that's where we've been the last 5 times. Well, the Aldron is going to tag onto Izzy. He's going to dash out relatively safe. And I think you could just see the gaps in where you would see that breach util, and there's gaps that Supermassive Blaze can sneak into.
That's a good start here from Russ. He's taking out Yassine, who was overstepping the mark. Same goes here for Bonkart.
Strike down A.
And over there on the other side of the map, we see Draken, but he's not really contributing too much to the attack we're seeing, except they're moving backwards. But getting the spike, this is the main objective right now for the guys. And the options are most definitely limited. Leo has to get a double here to make it work. Gets none. Poirot is chiming in and swings wide exactly when needed. Russ is even being revived. And it could be Draken. Again, I mean, this man has been on perfect lurk so far throughout the series. He's kind of known for that, but the spike has been delivered on a silver platter here. It's impossible to obtain that. It should be impossible. I mean, with such a dink,
he still loses the fight.
It's disastrous.
I mean, it's great for Supermassive Blaze.
Oh, yeah,
for
totally.
it all to be super negative. Like, the fact that Supermassive Blaze are not overstepping boundaries, you know, there is that sort of meme that Turkish teams are going to be super aggro. Supermassive Blaze, these have been clean, European-esque retakes, I would say. Very calm and collective. The tactical timeout, guess who it's for at this point? It's a shame, because I think that the main point that all of us reacted to, Lofa, Yinsu, Kakuka, when we were talking about the fact that Bonkers switching away from the breach is this is the worst possible time to switch away from it. Sky's being nerfed, she's still great, we're still seeing her a good amount, but on maps like this, where you can get away with a breach pick, especially if you don't rely on going B all that much, there's a lot you can do there. And it's just a shame that we've seen nothing new added to the table.
And the thing that's kind of unfortunate right now for me is, unfortunately, the impact that Yassine has. I'm really not keen to talk about scoreboard. I'm not talking about stats equal impact. But regarding what kind of player he is, regarding what his job is, regarding what he's done in the past, he hasn't been showing up too much so far.
No.
And that's kind of unfortunate. And Guild, with the duelists they have, they definitely need to step up their game to shake up and dismantle this defense from Supermassive Blaze.
Another eco required. The Guardians have been relatively successful. I just feel that ever since the first 12 rounds of Breeze, every round for Guild has been a bit of an uphill climb. Even the rounds that they win, it's close. It's really close fashion. But the fact that they've won one round in, well, since round 12 of Breeze is a bit concerning. You know, like these attacks have looked really lackluster. There has been teams that have had results like this. Gambit's attacks used to be kind of muddy on this map.
Best example.
But it's the fact that we saw this change come in so close to this tournament, it feels like they've not had too much time to really work on it that much.
And that's the thing. How long do they already have this in their idea cabinet, or is it just something that's fresh out of the oven? Unsure about that, but in the meantime, Paul is getting good bit of information and even a kill on Bonker. And it's more unfortunate because he even had the res. It could have been another life on the site for Guild, and it's just gone. They clear out the A side entirely with the Viper's Pit, and Yassine is not hitting that. And the thing I just mentioned, unfortunately, once more becomes a reality. Guild is trying to attack the B site, but they've already lost 2.
I mean, we saw the attack pause come in, so all of that useful information, I should really say, like Freudian slip. I mean, it depends, really. It's going to be useless for this round because it's an eco, was what I was going to say. It's going to be useful going into this next one. We haven't seen Guild change up all that much between attack pause beforehand and now. So now this is where we might see what Baba wanted the team to do. Bonka is on the 007. 0 and 7. Draken not much better. I don't even think it's a case of like if this series is lost 2-0 to Guild. I don't think it's the typical like Bonker's underperformed.
That's not.
I think it's just everybody's not feeling it, other than Leo and Safe, I'd say.
And specifically, the first few rounds of Breeze, Bonker like wonderful.
Yeah.
He's having a good day.
That's the role that you want to see from him. Yes. And on a Cypher, I don't think it matters if you're the first death. As a Viper, however, on attack, you want that util. Okay, now they're still going for these B hits. I don't really know what I want to see differently from them overall. It's hard to take that mid-space. Supermassive Blaze have got it all locked on. Draken is still watching these areas, trying to catch these rotations. But Supermassive Blaze have been so cool, calm, collected on these retakes. It wouldn't surprise me if Turco just doesn't move from that position in mid.
No, the simple retake wall they always play as well. It's just making it so easy. Now they make sure that nobody comes around flanking. Wall used very late, funnier-wise. And here it comes. The retake is initiated. The process has started. And Turco is getting a shot into the head of Safe. Now, though, there is still an option in the form of Leo. Yassine is pushing through. The man is absolutely nuts. He's just holding W and shooting, but he's falling with that again. It can't work every time. Still, it could be just everything from Izzy. Bunker with the triple, as you just wanted to say. It could be more coming in from in, but Izzy, he has the reply. He has the 4K, but the defuse, will he have that? Not at all.
No time. Like I said, Guild actually get off the board finally on ICEBOX. And it was a nice start, but it was costly. Money isn't that good, bear in mind that they eco'd the round before this, so it's going to be a bit of a dicey buy coming up. Izzy still has not died so far. He's 10-0. And Bonka just able to get into a position where he can line up those kills, clearly on an angle that Supermassive Blaze maybe weren't expecting.
It's nasty, but it worked. That's what matters, and free, impactful kills from Bonkart that at least make it possible. You know, let's say like this, a 4-8 is not ideal. Most definitely not, but it's something that is possible for Guild if they keep up the pace. And as now they're changing sides, Izzy has to back off. His aggression is not allowed for the side of Guild.
These layers are always impactful.
Oy.
Screaming some really good ones to try and clear onto the site. And Yassine does find that space, tagged by the Eldron, so he's going to take a bit of a back seat. The Viper's Pit finally in use from Draken.
Uh-oh.
And Izzy spots Safe as he just takes a little peek. It was a bit of timing as well to know that a player was going to try and get out in that position, but it creates a lot of space for Pora at the same time.
So, irreducible pain that Guild had to feel so far. It might just even get worse. Pora's getting in there. He's getting into it, and he's finding Draken. So that one is out, and so it could be working quite well. The walls that have been so far delivered from Supermassive Blaze for the recade have been perfect, but Bonker might just have a good timing. He's going for it. We'll find one on the right-hand side. Can he deny the half? He cannot deny the half. Bonker, you're so smart, and you're getting them all. Bonker with the quad, and this is what you want want to see this guy do. He's usually not on top of the scoreboard, but a clutch from King Bonkar is bringing them back on the throne.
There's only one or two things happen there, like a 1v4 clutch from Bonkar himself, top fragging on the team, or this defuse just goes in from Turco and Bonker doesn't
He's
realize.
so smart because
it's few and far between. This is just a panic, but you're right, it's the decisions to take on the different kills, like the one that's close, the one on the high ground, and the two lined up. Supermassive Blaze, it's going to be a bit embarrassing for them, and it was so close for, as Bonker was trying to get around onto the back of an ICEBOX, the main site on A, that could have gone very differently, and it should have done.
It should have done. But I mean, Kakuka is already preparing the Bonkar to Berlin tweet.
Oh, she's passed out.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
she's unconscious from that.
I'm sure everybody in that green room is deaf at this point. I mean, you pretty much heard the screams.
Yeah, we are 2 floors up from where they are, and I can hear the clapping.
I heard some Spanish for sure.
The Spanish clapping is so loud.
I think she says Vamos, but I'm not really good with Spanish, to be honest. Could be wrong. Either way, it's SMB, a close one to lose. The fashion you want to lose is definitely not what we're looking for. And this is the momentum building up for Guild.
Told you these A hits have been pretty good for Guild. Difficult opponent to face. The fact that Brave trades that is really impressive, and that lurk from Draken, he just can't really find that lurk potential. Everything has had a good read, and Guild have found themselves a couple of kills. The Lurk King, though, is in a nice position.
He is. For a second, it seemed like Leo will check him, but he can't deny one. Does he know that someone is just above him? Yes, he's aware. Oh, this is so smart from Para. And the... So smart from
those entry duels, and knowing the Supermassive Blaze are a team that don't want the plant to go down, they want to shut you down before you can get onto the site. Going on these like 200 IQ lurks to the B site to try and catch people out is not only not really worth it, but it creates an opening that we saw Pora absolutely punish.
Well, Yield, the scene is definitely going for it. Those gloves are off, and this is some bare knuckle boxing coming in from him as he's sending his staggers in the direction of Para, but he's not checking close on Russ. A little unfortunate, a little odd. And Brave is curious to find a little more, but Bonkar's here to take him out.
He's been the best performer on this map now at this point. A couple of more players have been quiet, and I think that's just sums up Guild perfectly as well as just confidence. Like, none of these players are just bad, but if they're not feeling it and they start to feel the pressure a little bit, they can really have some woeful rounds, and that really does come down to everybody. This could be an awkward one now, as nobody's actually checking on top. Safe gets punished from a bit of a bad time, like rough timing from Guild and a bit of a bad peak overall. But a spike has gone down again, and it's a decent post plant, all things considered.
It's a very interesting positioning, but at the same time, the wall is technically giving their opponents an opportunity as well if it could go that far. If they might just not even expect it. They might just not be so sure, and this is why we might see the flank coming in from spawn, be like, yeah, this is going to be the default plan. We are having an easy time here, but that is not happening. Is he patiently hoping his teammates arrive in time? Because otherwise, his position as Snowman might be just not as valuable as some might think.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be left out to dry for the most thing. Izzy's done well to just take this patiently, but time is starting to really get awkward now. Leo, nobody's really cleared him yet, but now they have. The timing's good. The defuse is going to make things really awkward, but not enough time. Good stall from Guild. The third on the board. You said 4-8. When you said it, I was kind of like, we'll see. But now it's very much on the cards. Supermassive Blaze, despite a blistering start, we've seen Guild pull it back just a little bit.
It's crazy what we're witnessing right now. I mean, the matter of fact that this is coming back in favor of Guild, and at the same time, Bonkar, who's usually a perfect support player, setting everyone up according to plan, is right now on top of the scoreboard. It's a great, and at the same time, a very worrying sight for Guild, but it's not over yet. The defense is going to be very interesting to see what they can do with that, but now it's the final one for for this half.
I think just having better stats with kills and clutches is it's certainly a lot easier to do on Sage than it is Breach. And he's just a selfless player. He will literally give up guns and run around with a classic for his teammates to have them. But right now, the Hunter's Fury coming in from Pora. We see Guild just dance around it a little bit. No tags at all onto Guild. And you're seeing holding a nice angle here, very aggressive. The Sorb's trying to catch any players that want to push a bit beyond. I gotta say, Leo's recon darts have been great, and Draken, he needs to win that fight. Luckily he does, and he gets away just in time for us to try and trade out.
He does, but Draken at the same time is not allowed to die.
Watching it.
Yep, and Leo might be like, mate, by the way, do you got behind? No, I gotta go for the lineup. He heard it. He must have heard it. He did hear it. And Draken is so out. Turco's getting more, and this brings it only down to one. It is Turco. It is a wall. It is a revive. It is his options being limited, but how much will he get out of that? 80 HP are still left, and it could be the clutch that the team needs, but Safe is making it a fourth and is making it possible. It looked absolutely disastrous in the dark clouds over Guild. It's a bit of sun coming through there, but for how long is the question?
Yeah, could be bleak, but I gotta say, like, Guild's defense over on Breeze was pretty decent. I think the fact that they're playing this composition, you do have some comfortable players. This is really, despite how this series goes, something that Guild really need to look at is, I understand that that's not really Draken's job in the moment. He's setting up that post-plant utility. That's the whole reason why Guild playing those spots. But somebody needs to be watching in behind, expecting somebody else to come with. They caught one player, they assumed that would be it. And then more gaps have been exploited. Now Guild on their defense, they don't want to leave any pockets. Toxic screen is going to be over on the A site. It's just going to be a Draken holding in that position. Let's see what the rest of SuperMassive Blaze can do. These defaults have been relatively slow. The recon dart is trying to set up Safe into a nice position to push through this. The wall is going to try and stop things, but ultimately, Safe leaves bruised and battered.
Poison's off.
You gotta make sure that he's getting that heal from Bonkar, and that is the case. It's looking better for him now, but 82 is definitely not ideal. And no more armor. It's a few classic shots or one in the head that's gonna end his career in this round very swift, but SMB is patient. They're taking their time. They're not stressing it out at all. It's purely just them playing down the clock. It's just purely down to the clock. And you've seen that long-range duel with the Sheriff. That's obviously interesting.
Just needs to dash out. If he could, he needs to break the Eldron or get tagged. If he gets killed here, it's just a needless 5 versus 4 in favor of SuperMassive Blaze. The dash is still available. He hasn't used it. Recon Dart's going to make things difficult. And this is what you've seen as being great at, is just taking positions of the map and being difficult, but he doesn't have any smokes left. That was one thing that Jet received recently, is one less smoke to work with. He gets out alive at 2 HP, gonna get healed up from Bonker.
It's still not an ideal scenario here for BC, not holding them up for too much, but the spike's gonna go down, and that is a problem now for Guild. As we see, the retake utility is pretty much limited. The wall has been used to slow as well. There's nothing really left than getting for those duels and popping and plugging some hits. Oh, Lazy is showing his best to do that as he's getting one after another back there behind Yellow. Dashes away and is creating a lot of time for his teammates. Safe now needs to give us his best impression. But no chance. It's only down to Draken. Will he realize where Para is? Yes, indeed. That's a nice right click. The chances are still there. You gotta make it swift. You gotta make it fast. But Turco is ending it. And this brings them to 9th. The momentum will possibly swing in the way of SMB. And then the double digits are already secured.
Yeah, you always kind of fancy Turco in those clutches. Draken's had those moments where he's been able to do it himself, but the Clutch King, I think we got the Lurk King and the Clutch King all on one team for SuperMassive Blaze. It's these moments, though, that I just feel either SuperMassive Blaze go on a flank that Guild are clearly not expecting, or they just lose duels that are very 50-50. Would have thought that, I think, while SuperMassive Blaze are clearly the brawn team, Guild are the brains. They always have been. They've always had some nice ideas. But if the execution isn't there to follow it, it's really all for naught.
And what started as a lopsided affair is hopefully not turning in that way once we have here swapped sides, though at the moment with what we have, it shouldn't be too many options left. You've seen staying hidden, waiting out, and timing. It's not bringing anything to the guys from Guild. Striking already falls, and well, Izzy has a lot of objectives to hit. Bonkar is taking one down, but there's not much more he gets for the moment. It's a lot of pressure build. They don't get the spike down. It's costing them time. And as he anti-walled there, as you see, you see close to getting a new haircut, but there it goes. Easy shot to hit. And this brings him only down to 2. The Swedes most definitely running out of options at that point, and with 20 HP, you're not going to do much.
When that momentum starts going and 3 people peek into you, SuperMassive Blaze turn into a freight train. It does concern me that this map could be lost very handedly. I was, expecting the full works for both these teams. Now the full buy is available. I think it's safe to say for Guild, it's a must buy. It's a must win. They have to be able to try and pull something together here. And one thing that I noticed from the Gambit game before is Yassine did get caught out a lot in that B main position, especially because he's on his own. He either needs to stall, which is what he's been doing a terrific job of across the maps, win those duels, which hasn't been going that well, or just not die in a lot of those cases. He gets information, it's a passive hold for SuperMassive Blaze in that direction. He can slowly scale and take that space, but the fact that Guild are pushing from various places at the same time is a little bit worrying, but Yassine finds the opening, and Safe is gonna push on from that. Can't get caught out. The trade is gonna be a difficult one from this angle if Brave is watching it. Now the Aldron is gonna be used to see if they can clear out Yassine towards B.
That's not going to have the range. Will it? Poor, just finding it in time. And as Brave is finally taken out, the Viper eliminated from the attack of SMB, as they seem to charge towards A, or at least their feelers out if they want to go there. 2-minute advantage should give Guild that 5th, that must win, that round that could put them back into the right direction. Most definitely not the driver's seat yet. So little arrow comes in, the high ground and advantage of Izzy. Russ is starting good. Bonker eliminated, 15 points of health. And it's becoming problematic if they get the spike down, but it actually happens. Paras getting the one on the ground. I'm not quite sure how much retake potentially he has at that point in time. More likely how much lineup potential, but it doesn't change the matter of fact that left, right, and center, the player are coming in and they bring it home. The must win is guaranteed.
Around really on a knife's edge to an extent with a bit of the aggression that we saw from Guild. It's something that I always like to see from them. I think that the way that they hold the site is very passive, it's very nice, but being able to push for intel and put SuperMassive Blaze into a position where they're maybe panicking is nice. The fact that Russ and Izzy are 19 and 18 kills really says it all. They've been the dream duo today. It's no longer a feeling, I suppose, of one over the other. Both are absolutely shining.
Yes.
It's almost a competition between the two of them, which I think raises both of their potential prodigy status, I suppose it would be. Not really the same for Guild. I think everybody's been a bit of a slow burner. But I think that's an important one to win. Now it's full buy versus full buy. SuperMassive Blaze don't want to let Guild back into this. That Viper's Pit is going to be really annoying to move from Draken.
And they'll go for it. I mean, they enter it. Yassine is close. As the wall goes down, let's see if the drone is going to catch him, because then you got to be fast. But there the wall comes up. It doesn't hit anything. It doesn't tag something. And over on the A side, nothing has happened. Absolute peace over there. And the entirety of SMB focusing to get deep down B. Nope, they're backing off for now.
Just want to make things awkward. It's pulled a lot of players over from Guild. Russ is going to stay around. It's one of those cases where Yassine will want to peek to see if there's anybody there, to see if this is a bit of a rotate, but the risk isn't worth it. And I think those decisions have been noticeable from Guild. They haven't overstepped it. They haven't faced into danger. Man, just Leo gets so much information off these recon dots, hitting multiple players. It's the usual utility you see, but the timing is so different to most people, it catches SuperMassive Blaze off guard.
Timing could become a problem. If he doesn't check for Yassine, he's having a problem, but as he does, has to back off, and now this is a good bit of information. At the same time, there's nothing really slowing the side of SMB. Turco's getting safe. Leodo has the antidote to Para at least, and knows Turco's close as well. That's not as ideal as they might have expected. 13 seconds, by the way, to get that spike down. And it's on the ground. It's on the cold metal. And nevertheless, it's going to be hit in the ground. The spike
There they are.
is going according to plan, and this leaves it only down to 3, with a lurk from Drake most likely being expected by SMB. I would be surprised if they are not aware about it. No, it doesn't seem to be the case. Brave is the first one falling, and the next casualty could be Izzy. If that is happening, that's a different story, that's a different case, but it's successfully only down to Russ, and he has to perform specifically. Such an agent can make it work, but Leo doesn't let that happen.
Yeah, smart decision making from Guild to sort of go hungry for the kill. Leo just sort of getting onto that distance. Draken just being annoying from behind. SuperMassive Blaze are looking a little more flustered now because Guild have been so good at controlling the map in the early stages. Time is not really on their side. They go for the execute, it gets broken. We see Turco going down before the spike's planted. Now they're starting to get into a rhythm. Leo, again, is sort of bailing out these players. I thought he was going to try and walk across the wall maybe to get that angle, but this works. It's an awkward duel. Turco just wanted to try and maybe bait that he was planting, going for the wide peek. He has the resurrect, but an eco round might be Guild's 7th on the board.
Might be the case. But now, it's going to be Izzy and Co. Seemingly going full speed. I mean, for a moment it looked like it, but waiting. One player showing themselves. That, in this case, is nobody else than Russ, but so far, silence around the map. Could be an explosive one very soon, though.
Gonna hear all of these steps. A bit of chipping away at the wall.
Knock, knock.
If this goes badly for Save, it really is a knock-a-door run or breaking it from a distance. I swear.
He's getting ready for trick or treat.
The plays like that, though, from SuperMassive Blaze do take a lot of attention. Not only do you have Safe in that position, keeping an eye, but Bonka went to help. Now he's over towards the A site, expecting the hit. He doesn't have any slow orbs available anymore, but still has that heal. The shock darts are going to make breaking into this site difficult, and Bonka's able to sort of push off of that as well.
Entry kill coming in from him. Safe is also taking down Izzy, and the entire patient seems to be worthless. He doesn't even get the orb, which could have been a quite nice little bonus. And Guild, who are known for their great defenses, who are known to be the ones holding the gates of the castle, no chance really so far, it seemed like for them. But they're back, and they're back into it. Because even though we have lost Breach in the process, it seems like even this constellation is working decently for them.
It's the fact that it's like, we lost Breach as if he's never going to be played again. He's gone to the Shadow Realm. I just think it's one of those cases where whether it's through the lower bracket or upper bracket guilds, I think they looked better with the Breach on attack. But I've got to be honest, Bonka's been playing well on the Sage. That impact has been there to slow things down. Mid-control has just not been a thing for SuperMassive Blaze. It's a repetitive default, just putting the wall there overall. It hasn't been placed this time, just to see if SuperMassive Blaze are going to push in that direction. But no, they're heading straight towards A.
Yeah, and you know, SuperMassive Blaze were definitely known for being a little slower. They are going full speed into this, but Safe, he has a reply, but only for 2. Not much more he's getting out of that, and so the attack seems to be successful for now. Only 2 more remain, even make it 4. That's actually quite difficult, but Leo, he could consider to play it a bit more passively. He has his ult, and once they gained a bit more information, once they hear their spike being tapped, they could definitely try to trigger it. They could definitely try to make that one work. And here it goes. Tax 1. Does he get more? He does get actually a second. That's a quite successful Hunter's Fury. And this makes it go down to 44 and 70. The spike is going down, and it's looking like a decent one. Leo's going fast. And as he's so swift, he needs to get the kill. Does so. And Pora, his time to shine. That ain't it.
That's a difficult retake to play because there's still so much time on the board for SuperMassive Blaze. You don't want to over-dedicate with ultimates. You don't want to over-dedicate with presence, especially because you saw a very late recon dat from Pora on the back of the site. Like, if you're out on Rafters expecting that fight, you're going to get caught out. The fact that Leo's been able to get onto Rafters and wide peek Turco 3 times now, I think, to get that kill, taking Turco out the server in those post plants is so important. Not only is that potentially a res if he has it available, but he is one of those players that can win those 1 versus 3s. Safe does terrifically here. It's just a game sense to know that a player can come from that direction. Obviously, Izzy is full sprinting in that scenario, but knowing that he's going to take those angles, take those fights, and get to 2 before he's traded out, really nicely done from him. And Guild are now back in this.
Yeah, what seemed to be the spot of bother is turning around to possibly become an icy paradise. And again, I mean, I've seen this one before. Definitely going swift and fast over on the A side. Spike's going to go down any second soon. And here you go. They have just rushed the site. No real problem. But the problem that now comes in is the ult. Brave has used it wisely. A good shock dart, as you see there on the right-hand side. Leo's waiting until he has another opportunity.
That's the thing, just the Aldrin a bit earlier on the Viper's Pit. It's such, like Aldrin's such a good bit of utility, but now it's just guns and spraying, hoping that they can catch on to where the Viper's playing from. Right on site, but Izzy's going to try and close that distance. He's trying to scale all of this positioning, but Draken catches him. Now we're back into a 3 versus 3 as Turco is there trying to make things difficult again.
And the problem is they gotta be fast because there's still a Pora racing back there with his Hunter's Fury. But it's not like even the thing that time matters. It is even getting on the site that matters. SMB was putting that thing in drive or even in sports mode, and they were hitting the site in a matter of 20 seconds, something like that. Easily made it work. Knew we had that Viper's ult, the Viper's Pit ready, and suddenly the entire site turned into a green, misty mess.
It almost just felt like Guild weren't expecting that kind of play to come through, that they just didn't look at what ultimate Supermassive Blaze had available. They were obviously wanting to play a bit anti-eco. They've been playing very passive off that A site itself, but to give so much freedom for SMB to get in onto the A site and to use Viper's Pit, and also Leo used all of his utility very early on. Like Aldrin to go around to peek for information, Recon Dart shortly after that, and the Shock Darts. It meant that once the Viper's Pit had fully bloomed, wasn't anything to use to take that space.
Poison orb emitting.
The worst about all of that, they couldn't even trigger the Hunter's Fury. That's one thing, and now it is coming in. They once more want to go for that A side, and so one of the crucial pillars of defense has already been eliminated. That's safe out. I mean, up close and personal, suddenly Izzy's jumping into the face of Bonkar as well as previously obvious seen, and those are nasty frags. Looking for more. Leo is getting the double indeed, and suddenly it looks, well,
moving away,
exacerbated here.
I quite like the Viper's Pit just sort of used in the moment. It was funny just how it was placed, and there was more Supermassive Blaze players in Guild's Viper's Pit than Guild players. They just took all of that space, but they couldn't find where Draken was playing from. He's the first to sort of rotate around in his position. Toxic Screen is nice for those post-plant holds, and Leo needs to be very careful. That Recon Dart's going to be thrown out, and Pora's in a nice position to capitalize.
I'm not quite sure if that was a lineup because it doesn't seem to be going anywhere as it landed on top of a box, but it doesn't matter because bullets are the language that Draken speaks. Good damage he inflicted here onto Turco. And so Pora is dancing around the kitchen, trying to get a bit of information. He's definitely getting the attention. Yep, but you see, 36 HP. This is the problem. Oh, he's having a bit of a hard time right there, and he can't make it work. It's a 12th round. It looked possible because initially they shut down the aggression from SMB, but over on the B site, chances were coming down to 0.
It has been good conditioning to just get Guild to panic once those fast A hits come in. The rotate was great. Pora gets into a nice position. He just held it, patient, wins the duel against Yassine, which, you know, it could come down to a 50-50 situation there, but the confidence is oozing from Supermassive Blaze. Despite losing 4 rounds in a row, they could take this series cleanly, 2-0. Guild, this is their map pick. They've had good defensive halves against some top teams, but this is the nightmare start to this tournament.
It is a nightmare start to this tournament because things were looking good. Over on Breeze, it was all sunny, but now it's quite sinister. Good stuff from Brave that he gets Leo. That's ridiculous, the shot he hits and the expectation he has for a player to be still back there. But either way, it's strong and solid from SMB. Spike's gonna go down, and so the retake's on. Save though finally comes in, eliminates Izzy. It's only 3 left on the Turkish side. And he's keeping up the fights. He's keeping up the duels back there from Garage. The players, in the meantime, his teammates over on the side of B are trying to take down a player back from Yellow. And so the defuse could come in if Safe wouldn't have died there. But it's only down to Turco. It's got to be a miracle round for him. But they're still alive. Bonkar with another triple. And Bonkar with some decent impact here. Do they get an ult out of that? Well, they seem to put Leo closer to the Hunter's Fury, understandably.
I think that's more likely to come out as well. It sort of protects from any fast Supermassive Blaze plays that they try and throw out. The fact that we saw like the Resurrect use, I think the difference is having that Res online and giving it to the top performer on Guild currently. 15 and 16, 10 assists. I think it really goes to show that no matter what agents Leo plays, he is world-class on nearly all of them.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that he's been able to play so consistently, he genuinely looks like a top 5, it's only a couple of games, so I don't want to go too hyperbolic, but he's like in the top echelon of talent and could potentially be one of the best Sovers in EMEA with time. Don't want to say it after two maps.
Your point is extremely valid, specifically considering how versatile this guy is, because he's also playing a quite decent Astra. But so far, we only haven't seen him on the Sova where he had some electrifying performances. Safe is starting good. Russ is eliminated. And as they move back, they have a clear awareness of what's happening on A.
Just the recon that's constantly. It's just
good.
It's a different perspective as well, because this isn't a player that's been playing Sova since the closed beta. Like, he has such an open mind to trying different stuff out. Different lineups is what we see a lot from Guild and timings. And now Yassine's going to try and take a peek. I like the idea, and at least he's down into safety. But Safe is on an angle, sees the scope of the gun, wins the shot once more before he dismisses. He wants to get some more of those kills, and he doesn't have a dismiss. Last layer is used. He's still going to be forward-facing.
At this point in time, it's just crucial to not give any frags to SMB, because you give them an inch and they'll take a mile. Upgrade for Izzy, granted. Rifle in his hands, but 78 and 48 points of health. Another information arc, by the way, going through. It's crazy. I mean, that's high impact Leo has just purely with the information plays.
One enemy remains.
Safe is still here. The ace is denied this time. We saw one from Russ earlier, but Izzy trades out. 1 versus 3, there's 20 seconds on the clock. There is time to sort of rotate if you're very, very quickly and use that tailwind. But Draken was in behind anyway. It didn't matter. Leo, despite only not being the one to get the multi-kills, only getting the one in that round, was pivotal to Safe finding success. That duo between the two of them has been lightning. And it means that Yassine doesn't need to perform well all the time, right?
At the same time, you want Yassine to perform well. I'm fully on the side with you with that, but it is specifically with the role he's playing, I think somewhat the job you would expect. I mean, there are Jet players who are just there for openings, which is fully fine if the rest of the team can follow up and make it work.
It's the Scream Yampy succession, I suppose, of if Scream doesn't have a bad game, if Scream has a good game, sorry, Yampy doesn't need to play super aggressive with the op. He can be a bit more passive, which is what we've seen out of Yassine. He's still got the op. He's over on that A site on his own. He's going to just quickly adjust because the call has been made. The Eldron is usually a high telegraph when it comes to being a B hit. Leo's going to use his a little bit further back. Has the Hunter's Fury. He doesn't want to use it on targets that get tagged up. He's just waiting for that plant. The Guild are already in place.
Yeah, and that could add nasty because it's at the end of the quiet, narrow path. Does he get one? Yep, borrows out. That's important. The Hunter's Fury charging up the attack from Guild as it could be supercharged any second soon. Pardon, that's the defense, but it's more likely the retake that could have happened in the end. That didn't go. Turco will have a rough time if he really wants to go for the revive, because that guy is pretty much out in the open, laying in the snow. So they go for it.
Probably one of the calls why they've scaled up so aggressively. And it's awkward places for Guild, or at least it was, but Leo continues to be an absolute marvel in this server on ICEBOX. Despite drop, this is where SuperMassive Blaze looks really problematic when it came to their attacks on Breeze. Just getting onto the site, getting killed in the process.
Yeah.
There is very little that these SMB players can do.
Except,
I mean, if they get the kill onto Yassine, I think the mental's going to be broken. He is one of the nicest guys, but he's very emotional. You know, he is one of the happiest guys, but you can tell that when they lose, he takes it incredibly hard.
oh yeah,
Which is something that I really respect about him. He cares. You can't say that he doesn't.
true.
But you don't ever want that to get in the way of a performance, right?
Emotions can turn both ways. At least the interesting part in this is that they took out the majority of SMB. And that could be interesting now with the buy that we're gonna witness. And
Yeah, Guild can afford to give up some of those guns as well because they've been on a little bit of a hot streak. 3 rounds in a row means that they have plenty of money. It's either overtime or a 2-0 win for SuperMassive Blaze. All to play for. Save having that Empress. It's going to be a solid one. But I have to feel a lot of this will come down to Turco as well. Just a Bulldog in hand, it might just be enough because that res is going to be super handy as well.
it's going to be interesting if they're able to get Brave another ult orb, because then he would have his pit. That could be pretty much a life insurance for round number 13. Brave is sneaking through and finds 1 kill. That's good. But behind him, Bonkar has the reply.
It's just the timing. It's just good enough. But SuperMassive Blaze are in a player disadvantage. The tempo of the rotate is fast. It's going to be heard, and Safe's even going to spot it. I'm glad that he got out of there. He didn't overstep the mark. It's just this decision-making from Guild is just play to our strengths, play slow. We can't outpace these guys. Turco, that Resurrect has to come in now or never. It does break. No. That could have been awkward if there was somebody holding it a bit closer. You seen with the operator, if he was a bit further up, he might be able to punish that. But luckily, SuperMassive Blaze get out of there scot-free, and it's a nice 4 versus 4.
all that noise that happened over on the side of A seemed to be the perfect distraction. If Leo doesn't have him on his radar, barrel spotted and kill granted. And there's the man advantage. SMB can definitely play with that,
Nice
but Safe got a reply. That is very crucial. And so it is Pora who can be a key figure in this. He got the Hunter's Fury. If that spike goes down, you gotta take him out swift and fast, because otherwise it's a time bomb. Most literally it is, but that's even more critical. And so the silence around the server, that 11 to 12, the pressure is big, their heart is racing, and Guild could most definitely make it into overtime. There have been bigger challenges for this team, and he's using it early. That has been now tap ones, and Yassine is out. Turco, is he not going to find anything more? No, it's only down to Pora, and they know where he stands. One is starting with, and Safe, he's buying so much time. The clock is working in his favor, and we are going into overtime, Ryan. Guild have been fighting hard, and they deserve that one.
The David Beckham organization, the biggest football idiom is it's a tale of two sides, right? They had us in the first half kind of stuff, and Guild have done really well to bring this back. Safe especially. It's overtaken Russ when it comes to kills.
Yeah.
He bailed out Leo. He got caught out. The fact that that trade comes in such a weird position, and the fact that they deal with this pressure so well, the peak, the timing, the fact that they didn't line up, just that decision making. And Bonker has looked really good on this Sage. The mechanical performance is there. You don't have the breach utility, which is a little bit concerning now that we go back over to Guild's attacking half.
I mean, I think that would have been a really good reference if I would understand football.
It's just such a, you know, it's a tale of two halves kind of thing. Other football idioms. At the end of the day is another one as well. You got like Steven Gerrard going like, yeah, of course, kind of thing. That's a common one at the moment.
I guess so. But you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, it has been a tough battle side of Guild.
You know it's bad when I'm coming out with the Zeshdisms.
No, I think most of the people understand it. It's just me. It's just really me. You are having a perfect reference here, but the reference point for the defense of Guild, that has been all the work, for example, of somebody like Safe. But now they're backing off already, making the move over the spawn.
He does well to sort of play close on yellow. Will hear the hover of Yassine trying to jump over the slow up that's placed. Maybe not quite intentionally meant to go that way, but it was a nice trap play that punishes Yassine, who wants to try and take that space early. Now other people have to do it. Pora's cleared up a lot of space. I think if you could take out the silver in this position, not having that recon dart, those shock darts as well, gonna be good for Draken.
They're faking that. I'm quite sure they're faking that because he wants to get Pora out of the position to get an easy kill on him.
Who's got the metal to check it? Draken is even expected overall. And now there's 3 players for Supermassive Blaze over on the A site already. 3 more heading away from Guild.
And so they're holding them up again. 20 seconds. Safe is though already on the high ground. That plant's not going to be easy. Can Bonker get it down? What in God's name is Safe doing? The man's trying a bit of parkour, but it's not the right time to do so. Bonker is chanceless. And that spike will not hit the ground. No chance. 13th is granted. It's a tough one that we're witnessing right here. It's not that easy at all. And SMB, who looked like they might just pulverize the entirety of Guild, are having not a great time, but at least it looks like victory is on their way.
Last time we saw Guild play in this map, the 1917 overtime against Gambit lasted an hour and 20 minutes. And it was the same scoreline as well, like Guild only getting 4 rounds on the attack and winning 8 on the defense. So it's kind of look back and you go, that's a good result against Gambit, like taking them that closely. They failed to capitalize, and against SMB, it's a bit concerning. Yassine makes up for the first death, the first round of overtime, and Pora wants to try and scale him out. He's happy to give up all that space and be protected. They just want to play off that player advantage.
It's SMB who don't take the plunge this time around, as we saw them previously take some fast A hits and make them work and convert them into victories. But with a man disadvantage, it's not going to be as easy as you like it to be. Well, Izzy though, he's an X factor. Whiffs the first, Bonker eliminated, but Yassine got another reply, and I'm not quite sure if that was for the wall. No, he's playing on the edge of it. And that seems to be once more a retake that could work well. In the meantime, on the minimap, you already see that Draken is trying to get the attention of a few players over there, whilst his teammates are obtaining room. But Pora, around the corner, could have a good play. Izzy is known, but it's only down to 1. That is Pora, behind yellow, identified and spotted. Can he make that clutch work? Quickly, Draken has to help, but Leo is extending the overtime.
A nice retake from Guild. Really well played from Yassine. Just if you watch where he is on the map, where he moves, the fact that he was over on B main, gets that initial kill, backs off to the site, and uses Supermassive Blaze's toxic screen against him by getting into that snowman position. It's just if you watch where he goes in a line, it's crazy positions. Supermassive Blaze weren't expecting him to be in all those spots. That's what you want to see. He's bottom fragging when it comes to his team, but kills now matter way more than some of the early ones in the game.
That's the thing. He might have 11, but those were 2 impact kills. Extremely important ones. And
2 more and he's a hero.
2 more and he's a hero. Absolutely agreed. But here it is. It's finally an A attack we're seemingly seeing. Could be the classic Gambit one. If the orb's laying, there it goes. But they will be welcomed soon.
Just going for that A hit. Instead of having those breach flashes, it's just going to be those layers coming in. And Ross wants to try and close that distance. That's a big kill for Yassine to get in. The utility is great. It always has been, but there is still a player on site. Is he with the op? It's uncomfortable. Turco's around. He has a wall that can maybe boost up or just break the wall coming in from Bonker. It's a very passive hold.
Oh, yeah. And this is good because they're purely playing this on the afterplan scenario, purely playing it on the afterplan scenario. The unfortunate part, Turco still has a wall, so it could actually be blocked by those items. As Brave is looking for frags individually, Yassine is eliminated. One shock dart came in, Safe is trying to make it work time-wise, and it's time to make those work. And there you see it, there is the wall. It's working so well. Finally, it has been eliminated, but they are aware it's half. Draken is just going on the ropes, making a lot of noise, but Safe, he's collecting those dark tacks and bringing the quad home.
One thing that you won't notice about that is just that utility that comes in yet again from Leo. It was the shock dart because Turco, he put up the wall, he was going for the full defuse, got halfway, and the shock dart takes him off for a second, kind of allows Guild a second to go, wait, they've walled it, we need to break this, we need to fight this. The recon dart as well, it just makes things very difficult for Supermassive Blaze to fully dedicate. And just that adjustment, it's here, you'll sort of see it, like Turco's fully going for it, the shock dart doesn't quite connect, but it pulls him away. And the recon dart, again, stops him for a second. It allows that wall to be broken. It was definitely the idea of, like, Turco was expecting to be hit by the shock dart, so he got off of it, because there wasn't much of a utility coming in the way other than Draken Snake Bites, perhaps. It was pandemonium, to be fair.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is, you have to see where we're coming from a 4-10 for Guild. All that valiant efforts in the end for naught. This is what it looked like, but they have pulled through quite a bit, showed mental strength, and in the meantime, SMB, they were close. I mean, they were pretty much having a 2-0 in the back, pretty much. And now Guild just went away from it.
To see Guild come back is just the potential for this team is always exciting. You see glimmers of a brilliant EMEA team in the making. A win on this map might see a little bit more when it comes to split. That's nice. Izzy trying to scale up that space. He's been a bit quieter and tried to do way too much. Got into the heads of Supermassive Blaze, and Guild are looking to lock this one in.
He's finding Leo. That's crucial. No more information that the side of Guild will obtain. But Brave is playing that one close. Guild gotta have him on the radar. They must be aware of the young man and his skill, and there they come. Yassine takes out Turco, but it's Brave who might just lead the show, and it's his stage, it's his opportunity. But Bonkar, he's having no chance. 54 points of health, and it's Brave with the quad. He's keeping the dream alive, and the Blaze is there. Another overtime we're getting ourselves.
It looked like Guild were gonna clinch it. I gotta say though, it's nice to see Brave in those positions, but that's really poorly played from Guild. They know exactly where he is, and they just peek this one by one. It's just they get into their heads a little bit. It's a beautiful kill onto the top of Safe. But just at this point, just these two players, Yassine takes it slow. He's expecting Bug to play off of it, but he doesn't take enough tension. Brave is expecting it. That's a brilliant clutch, but it never should have happened in a million years.
Absolutely. And there's one minor thing that could have been done better, and that was the communication in that 1 versus 2. If Bonkar and Yassine could have coordinated them right, that could have been it. That could have been it, but it didn't happen, so we have to go into another OT. And this time around, they're much more mid-focused. We haven't seen that often from the side of Guild.
This is where Draken came online when it came to playing against Gambit. But yeah, again, that's another first death to the table, and there's been quite a few of those on attack.
Yeah.
Supermassive Blaze really do shut down that mid-presence, and if you're loud about it, they're going to add more bodies to it. The problem is, however, the Guild haven't really pushed anywhere else on the map to take that space. A little bit quieter on to B. Yassine's found a lot of space for seemingly free, despite using the dash and a couple of smokes. He doesn't have anything available to break through that site, and because there's no Draken, yeah, There's no toxic screen.
It's the worst you could ask for, basically. It's all the safety, all the security you have, and they still decide to go for the side of B, which is the interesting aspect. That dart not getting anything towards Snowman, so they got to be careful about that. He saw a bit of the head. Safe is eliminated. Spike's going down nevertheless, and so he's having his little bodyguard with him. You've seen he's trying his best. 100 HP is back on him. They got to be one superb clutch where Yacindo falls first. It doesn't look like that will work. Another nice shock dart, but Brave is already halving it. He's keeping on, he's keeping on. And suddenly the round is lost. What an awkward ending to this number 29. I mean, Leo is making a few nice frag movie shots out of it, but...
Switching sides. Match point.
It's just also that movement as well. Like, Bonker moves off of the site, checks behind him to see if there's anybody flanking from the attacker side spawn. But Yassine is still holding a very high line on B. It's 3 players alive. They completely spread themselves thin. Leo just doesn't expect the defuse to be dedicated. He wanted to play super late to try and jump out and be like, surprise, ha, you're not defusing.
Psych.
But like Bonker's off in a different direction. He isn't quite sure what's going on the site. Yassine dies very early on in that engagement. It's really, we should be already in the break. We should be having Lofa and Kuka on the desk to talk about how Guild managed to come back and win this one. But now it's looking like we're ending this 2-0. Supermassive Blaze. There's one more round on their attack. Guild's defense has been pretty foolproof, but yet again, they lose a player early, and it's safe as well.
Toxin screen down.
Such an impactful individual Safe has been. Draken O'Minder just hit a good time in. He's dodging it. Has he been spotted though? Turco, is he aware of the player? Nope, that doesn't seem to be the case, but you gotta be careful from behind, because otherwise he gets beheaded. Unfortunate scenario for the Guild side of things. Man advantage is looking good for SMB, but we saw them make the impossible work, Ryan.
The Aldrin isn't actually going to find where Bonker's playing from. Yassine is taking this very slowly. That is a nice kill. I think Pora just sort of oversteps, thinks the Aldrin gets all of the information, but it's really more of a bait to pull these players from Guild away from that A site. It works. Leo's still alive with a shock dart. He uses it. It's going to come in onto the site now, but doesn't really connect to do that much damage. The Viper's Pit is available for Brave as well. Oh dear.
That's unfortunate. Bonker false, but the impact frags, they happen in the overtime for Yassine. The chances for Yassine, well, maybe not ideal, considering you're shooting pretty much just into green voids. Brave is playing on the edge. Infrared is coming in, but he's expecting him. That's so important. Only is he left alive. Can he clutch it out? 30 HP left, but Yassine is sealing the deal. My goodness, those are a few heart attack overtimes we're getting right here. And well, as famous DJ Khaled said, another one.
Seeing Yassine smile as well.
That's happy. That's good.
Yeah, look at him. It's so nice to see him sort of light up.
Oh, I'm out of here, guys.
The
See you later.
Is going to, yeah, he's just taking a moment. There is a tactical. It's like, hey, like, hi, I'm Baba. I'm Guild's coach. But, like, Yassine, no, I'm going for a wee. Sorry. Maybe he's got wireless headset on. He's just like, yeah, I'm listening, but you know, I just want to get a drink from the fridge, get some water. I need to get some myself as well. Just the lights keep coming up and down because we think they're like, all right, Guild, the closing this out. Yep, we're on camera again. Nope, it's another round of overtime. Oh, it's SMB now. Nope.
That's going to be a fun time. There's another best of 3
mix. Gotta say, probably, I know Twiggy will be watching this because he's an avid student of the game. Milosh, yeah, I imagine as well. Or, you know, he's a busy man. He's working a lot at the moment. But in any case, they're probably watching this and going, yeah, I recognize this. We casted this the last time Guild played.
That's true. I mean, I guess Twiggy will shut off when during I don't know, whatever. No, I'm not. Forget about it. Nevertheless, Guild in that 15-15, it's going to be interesting to see because it's such a long road, right? It's such a long road where we're right now experiencing on. And I'll be honest, I would love to see Split. I would love to see what they have prepared over there on Split, because so far we've seen one surprise after another from both parties, and now it gets quite interesting.
I don't think, like, the map pool is a really interesting one for both teams, just because it's not like they're super strong on any of these maps.
Yep.
It's a very muddy map pool for both teams, which makes it the most exciting.
True.
Brave has been on fire the last few rounds. He's rarely come back. The young player, I think, had a bit of a mired performance at Masters, but he's learned a lot, and it's coming into play here. Guild, a player early down again. Yassine's smile is going to be wiped off his face. Turco could get a little bit more. The duel is an awkward one for that Viper utility, but Safe has made a lot of space, and they've scared off a couple of these SMB players.
The question is how much space can Safe generate from that point on. Wall comes up, tries to fake it. Good one, as they get a lot of room and frags over there on B. And as it seems, with all those corpses laying around the side of B.
Safe sort of checks this.
Yep, he does. And, well, it could be another one added to the collection, but it seems like Pora is trying to buy some opportunities for Izzy, but Leo will definitely spot the barrel. Knock, knock. Who's there? Well, it's obviously Leo. Good frag from him, and that should be... No. That should be done and dusted, but you know, those are the moments when chaos and drama is just coming in. Pora had a duel against a guy right-clicking. Most likely his rifle was just out of ammo. But it's still dramatic, it's still dangerous, and he has no clue what's happening. Leo's closing the case. 16-15. When is this game gonna end? I don't know.
I don't think it is. I think we're here for the long haul. Yeah, add another week onto our stay in sunny Spando. Honestly, it's feeling more like this weather in Spando at the moment. It was really nice when we were here for stage 3, but now we're getting into the colder months. It gets very cold here in Germany.
I mean, do you want to tell me...
It's cold, ICEBOX cold, but...
In the UK, it's always warm, 30 degrees.
Yeah, I mean,
palm trees everywhere.
I know Tuxedo has had a bit of a culture shock when he went out yesterday in sandals. And it was like, my feet are really cold.
I mean, imagine he bought sparkling water today. So
I mean, that's enough of a nightmare, but in any case. So I think there's a couple of players you could look at for SuperMassive Blaze to bring in. I think Brave has been doing well. Draken, he doesn't want to die early. He's made the right decisions. Bonkaz kind of overstepping the mark a little bit. He could find everything. He could find absolutely nothing. The double take as well.
You know, wait, is this a dream? He's checking his left-hand side. But good stuff from Pora. Eliminated by Leo in the process, though, and it could be Guild making that one work. 32, 78, and 100. HP-wise, SMB's not in an ideal scenario, and considering the retake opportunities that Guild have right now, it could work so well. It's a matter of fact, I'm asking myself what will happen when Leo has that Recon Dart available once more. It's coming now, and it's going to be interesting to see what information he gains. Nothing off of it.
It's the most, like, basic one, but I think it sort of sums up just... bit of that intel. Now we're going to start to see that scaling moving forward, just because that toxic Viper util is going to allow a bit more movement forward, and Brave catching Leo on this angle would be big, but Leo's been pretty successful in these kind of positions before. He's not really phased by smokes, and in fact,
he's not.
Backs off expecting that kind of play.
This could become problematic. 30 seconds. SMB is not getting anything. And as Bonkar takes out Izzy, it could be just their chance. It could be the round, it could be the game, it could be ICEBOX. It's going in their favor, and it is. Man, oh man, that was a journey. 32 rounds, 17.